Welcome to the Whispers and Footsteps, where mysteries brew and every detail matters. I'm thrilled to have you here. Whether you're a lifelong detective fiction fan or just love a good puzzle, you've found the right place. Before we dive into today's mystery, let me know in the comments, where in the world are you tuning in from? I'd love to see how far our curious community reaches. The body Wolfe never saw. If there is one thing you can say about Nero Wolfe, it's that he dislikes surprises unless he has ordered them in advance. So when the doorbell rang at 11 sharp, 10 minutes before lunch and 40 minutes before orchids, I knew the man on the other side had already started the day wrong. I opened the door and found a fellow who looked as if his tailor loved him, but his conscience didn't. Mid-40s, clean shoes, expensive coat, eyes that kept flicking past me into the brownstone like they expected to be arrested by the furniture. "Victor Hale," he said, offering his hand with the careful confidence of a man who had practiced the gesture in a mirror. "I have an appointment." "You're early," I said, ignoring the hand. "That counts against you." He smiled weakly and stepped inside anyway. That told me two things. He was nervous, and he had already decided he didn't care what I thought. I led him into Wolfe's office, where the boss was installed behind his desk like a large, immovable fact. Wolfe's eyes moved from Hale's shoes to his face with the slow, thorough interest he usually reserved for inferior orchids. "Sit," Wolfe said. It was not a suggestion. Hale sat. "I am hungry," Wolfe continued. "You will speak concisely." Hale swallowed. "I'm being blackmailed." Wolfe's expression did not change. Mine probably did. Blackmail before lunch is Wolfe's idea of cruelty. "Proceed," Wolfe said. Hale launched into it carefully, like a man stepping across thin ice. Years ago, he had been part of a private investment group. Quiet, profitable, ethically flexible. One deal in particular had crossed a line. Documents existed, signed, dated, ugly. Hale claimed the matter had been buried, legally and otherwise. "Last week," he said, "I received a letter." "Letters," Wolfe said, "are rarely interesting. What distinguishes this one?" "It knew things," Hale said. "Details, numbers, conversations only 3 people could have known." "How many of those people are dead?" Wolfe asked. Hale hesitated a fraction too long. "None." I filed that away. "The letter demanded money," Hale continued. "A large sum. No meeting, no return address, just instructions." "And you complied?" Wolfe asked. "Yes, I followed every step. I was told to expect another letter confirming the end of the matter." "And?" Wolfe prompted. "And instead," Hale said, "I received another demand, higher, more confident." Wolfe steepled his fingers. "Blackmailers are rarely subtle. Yours seems ambitious." "There's more," Hale said. He reached into his briefcase and removed a sealed envelope, thick paper, old-fashioned wax seal, untouched. "This was mentioned in the letter," he said. "The blackmailer claims to have this, or rather, claims to know what's inside." "And what is inside?" Wolfe asked. Hale's mouth tightened. "Proof, enough to destroy several lives." "Then why do you have it?" I asked. "Because it arrived this morning," Hale said. "By messenger. No note, no explanation." Wolfe leaned back slightly, the chair creaking under protest, his eyes fixed on the seal, not the man. "You are certain it was not opened?" Wolfe asked. "Yes." "And you have not opened it yourself?" "No." Wolfe nodded once. "Mr. Goodwin." That was my cue. I took the envelope, turned it under the light, examined the seal. Perfect. Too perfect. But that was a thought for later. "You insist," Wolfe said, "that no violence has occurred." "Yes," Hale said quickly. "Absolutely. This is a matter of prevention." "Prevention," Wolfe repeated, tasting the word. "You are afraid." "Of course I'm afraid." "Not of exposure," Wolfe said. "Of consequence." Hale's face went pale. "I don't understand." Wolfe waved it away. "You will, in time." Silence settled in the room. Hale shifted in his chair. I watched his hands. They were steady now. That bothered me. "What do you want from me?" Wolfe asked. "I want this to stop," Hale said, quietly. Wolfe snorted. Quietly is seldom an option. Efficiency, however, may be. He considered for a long moment, then nodded. "I will take your case." Hale exhaled like a man reprieved at the gallows. "On one condition," Wolfe added. "Yes?" You will tell me, Wolfe said, the name of the person you are most relieved I have not asked about. Hale froze. I smiled. That, Wolfe said, rising from his chair, will suffice for now. Mr. Goodwin will escort you out. I will think. You may worry. As Hale stood, his composure cracked just enough for me to see what was underneath. Fear, but not of blackmail. As I walked him to the door, I knew one thing for certain. This case hadn't started with a body, but it was already casting a shadow shaped exactly like one. The trouble with thinking a case is tidy is that reality takes it as a personal insult. I was halfway through a sandwich that deserved more respect when the phone rang. I answered with my mouth full, which is my version of professional humility. Goodwin, I said. You'd better come down, said Sergeant Purley. We've got a jumper, or something that looks like one. Only looks like, I asked. East 72nd, name's Leonard Kroll. The sandwich stopped tasting like anything at all. Leonard Kroll was Victor Hale's former partner, the one man Hale had dodged naming without actually refusing to do it. The one he'd insisted was alive. I swallowed, grabbed my coat, and was out the door before the mustard could argue. Kroll's apartment was the kind of place that tried hard to look lonely. Narrow, clean, expensive, and absolutely joyless. The body was on the living room floor, sprawled near the open window like it had lost an argument with gravity and decided to sulk about it. Purley filled me in. Neighbor heard a thump early morning. Window was open. Looks like suicide. Looks, I said, crouching. That's a dangerous word. I didn't touch anything. I just looked. The chair was too far from the window. The angle was wrong. And Kroll's hands, relaxed, almost polite, didn't match a man who had just flung himself out of life. What was he wearing? I asked. Pajamas. Convenient, I said. Anybody check the desk? Missing papers, Purley said. But he was in finance. Missing papers are practically a hobby. I stood and walked the room. The desk was neat in the way men get neat when they're hiding something. No envelope, no wax seal, nothing old-fashioned. Whatever had been here, someone had wanted it gone, and fast. Time of death? I asked. Between 1 and 3, which meant Hale had been telling the truth about at least one thing. The blackmail had started while Kroll was alive. I left the apartment with my shoes clean and my head busy. Back at the brownstone, Wolfe was at his desk, immobile, majestic, and deeply uninterested in the concept of homicide before lunch. Well? He asked. Kroll is dead, I said. Wolfe frowned. I dislike being correct so soon, elaborate. I did. Every detail, the window, the chair, the missing documents, the convenient pajamas. Wolfe listened with the patience of a man allowing a child to recite arithmetic. You have not seen the body? He asked when I finished. I saw it plenty, I said. You didn't. And I will not, Wolfe said firmly. I sighed. You're really sticking with that? Yes? Care to explain? No, I sat. Police say suicide. They are wrong, Wolfe said. Care to explain that? Yes, Wolfe said. Later. The phone rang again. This time it was Hale. He's dead, Hale said without preamble. His voice sounded smaller, thinner, like someone had wrung it out. Yes, I said. I know. I didn't do this, he said. I didn't ask, I said. But you might want to explain why you're surprised. I told you, this was blackmail, not murder. I looked at Wolfe. He was watching the desk blotter like it had just insulted his mother. Mr. Hale, Wolfe said into the receiver, your statement is irrelevant. Come here, now. Hale arrived in 20 minutes. He looked worse than before, which I took as progress. I swear, Hale said, standing in front of Wolfe's desk like a penitent. I had nothing to do with his death. Wolfe studied him. That is statistically probable. Sit. Hale sat. Mr. Kroll's death, Wolfe said, was not the objective. It was a consequence. Hale stared. Of what? Of predictability, Wolfe said. Someone knew precisely how Mr. Kroll would react to pressure. I don't understand. You will, Wolfe said again. He turned to me. Archie, you will interview Mr. Kroll's secretary. Already planning on it, I said. And his attorney, Wolfe added, and the courier who delivered the envelope. You already know about the courier? Hale asked. Wolfe ignored him. What about the envelope? I asked. Wolfe's eyes flicked to it, still resting on the desk, pristine and silent. It is the most dangerous object in the room, he said, and it has not yet been used. Hale leaned forward. Then open it. No, Wolfe said. Why not? Because, Wolfe said calmly, the person who wants it opened is not you. Silence again, thick this time. Someone engineered this, I said slowly. Set events in motion. Yes, Wolfe said, and did so without touching Mr. Kroll. Hale stood abruptly. You think I... No, Wolfe snapped. Sit down. Hale sat. You're a coward, Wolfe said, but you are not a murderer. Hale looked like he wanted to argue, then thought better of it. Archie, Wolfe said, the police will blunder. Let them. You will observe. You will listen. You will report. And you? I asked. I will think, Wolfe said. I do not need to see a corpse to understand a death. As Hale left, shaking and silent, I looked at the desk, at the envelope, at the empty space where answers should have been. This time, the case had a body. And Wolfe still hadn't seen it, which meant, somehow, it wasn't the most important thing yet. If there's a law of nature Wolfe never bothered to write down, it's this. When three people tell you the same story in different words, none of them is telling you the truth. I started with Leonard Kroll's secretary because secretaries are the hinges of civilization. Everything swings on them, and they know it. Her name was Marianne Lutz, and she worked out of an office that smelled faintly of lemon polish and old anxiety. She was in her early 30s, precise haircut, precise handwriting, precise way of sitting that suggested she'd been precise for a long time and was tired of it. She didn't cry. That alone made her interesting. You worked for Mr. Kroll how long? I asked. 7 years, she said promptly. I handled correspondence, scheduling records. Any trouble lately? She shook her head. No. I waited. She blinked. Well, nothing unusual. Try again, I said. Unusual is my whole business. She hesitated. He was tense recently. Because? Because of old matters, she said. Older than 7 years? Her jaw tightened. Yes. Did he mention Victor Hale? No. That answer came too fast. Did he receive letters? I asked. Yes, she said after a beat. A few. From whom? I don't know. Did you open them? No. Did you ever see an envelope sealed with wax? She looked down at her hands. Once. Yesterday morning? Yes. What happened to it? It was on his desk when I left. It wasn't there when he died. She looked up then. I know, I smiled politely. That makes two of us. She folded her hands. I didn't take it. I didn't say you did, I said. I said it moved. That ended the interview. She was careful, composed, and hiding something small but important. The kind of thing people tell themselves doesn't matter. Until it does. Next stop was Kroll's attorney, Martin Dorsey, who greeted me with the enthusiasm of a man who'd already rehearsed his lies. Dorsey's office was all glass and confidence. He shook my hand like we were already friends and poured coffee like he wanted to be trusted. Leonard was under stress, Dorsey said, but nothing extreme. You say that like you've practiced, I said. He laughed too quickly. Occupational hazard. Did Kroll mention being blackmailed? No. Did he mention Hale? No. You're consistent, I said. That's worrying. Dorsey leaned back. My client was a private man. Private enough to keep life-destroying documents on his desk? Dorsey's eyes flicked just once. I don't know what you're referring to. That's also consistent, I said. Different problem. He stiffened. Are you accusing me of something? Not yet, I said, but you should start thinking about how you'll deny it when I do. I left him adjusting his tie with hands that weren't quite steady. The courier took longer to find. Samuel Boyd, mid-20s, freelance delivery, no office, no social media worth mentioning. I caught him outside a diner on 9th Avenue, sipping coffee like it owed him money. You delivered an envelope yesterday morning, I said. He nodded. Paid well, no return address, drop and go. To Kroll? Yes. Ever delivered one like it before? No. Anyone watching? He shrugged. Maybe. Who paid you? A woman. That was new. Description. Dark coat, hat, didn't talk much. Did she tell you what was in the envelope? No. Did she tell you to watch what happened after? Boyd hesitated. Try again, I said. She said, he admitted, that I might be contacted later. For confirmation. Confirmation of what? That I'd delivered it. And? No one contacted me. I thanked him and watched him leave. He didn't look guilty. He looked used. Back at the brownstone, Wolfe listened while I laid it all out. He closed his eyes halfway through, which is his version of leaning forward. 3 stories, he said when I finished, each incomplete, each self-serving. The secretary saw the envelope, I said. The lawyer knows more than he admits, and the courier was paid by a woman who didn't want to be seen. Yes, Wolfe said, and all 3 omitted the same thing. I frowned. Which is? Emotion, Wolfe said. None expressed surprise. That's not a crime, I said. No, Wolfe agreed. It is a symptom. He stood, moved to the globe, and spun it once gently. Mr. Goodwin, he said, the killer did not seek money. Then why blackmail? To provoke, Wolfe said, to elicit movement. Movement from whom? From men who believe themselves cautious, Wolfe said. They are the most predictable of all. I thought of Hale, pale, shaking, relieved to be told he wasn't the killer. You think Hale was bait, I said, yes. And Kroll? A trigger, Wolfe said. And the envelope? Wolfe smiled thinly. A mirror, I stared. That's poetic. Try English. The envelope is less important than what people believe it contains, Wolfe said. Fear does the rest. The phone rang. Wolfe ignored it. Someone, Wolfe continued, arranged events so that Mr. Kroll would act alone, no witness, no confrontation. And got him killed without lifting a finger, I said. Yes. I leaned back. Then what's next? Wolfe looked at the envelope on the desk, still sealed, still silent. The person who orchestrated this, he said, will grow impatient. And when they do? Wolfe smiled again. This time it had teeth. They will make a mistake. Outside, Manhattan kept moving, unaware that 3 careful lies had just aligned into something sharp enough to cut, and somewhere between them, the truth was waiting. Quietly, the envelope came back the way bad ideas do, unannounced, inconvenient, and pretending it had never left. I found it on Wolfe's desk when I came in that afternoon, placed squarely on the blotter as if it had grown there. Same heavy paper, same wax seal, same antique air of authority. The only difference was that I hadn't put it there, and neither had Wolfe. I suppose you're going to tell me it walked in, I said. Wolfe didn't look up from his book. Do not be absurd. Envelopes do not walk. People carry them. Then somebody carried this one past Fritz, past me, and into your office, I said, without being seen. Yes, Wolfe said. That is the interesting part. I picked it up and turned it under the light. The seal caught the glow just right. Too right. Clean edges, no smudges, no excess wax. It was beautiful in the way a forgery is beautiful. You opened it, I said. Wolfe closed his book. No. Someone did. Perhaps, Wolfe said. What do you think? I think, I said carefully, that the seal was lifted and reset. The wax is the same color, but the grain isn't. See here, microscopic bubbles, different heat source. Wolfe nodded once. You're observant. Don't encourage me, I said. What was inside? That, Wolfe said, is irrelevant. Now you're just being difficult. No, Wolfe said. I'm being accurate. The doorbell rang. This time, it was the police. Inspector Kramer, broad and bristling, accompanied by Sergeant Purley, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Kramer, Wolfe said, you are interrupting. Story of my life, Kramer said. His eyes went straight to the envelope. We'd like to talk about that. Of course you would, Wolfe said. Sit. Briefly. Kramer didn't sit. We've got a dead man, Wolfe. Suicide that doesn't smell right. Your client is connected, and so are you. Your olfactory impressions are not my concern, Wolfe said. Kramer's jaw tightened. You withholding evidence? No, Wolfe said. I am withholding cooperation. That won't fly. It already has, Wolfe said. You're here. I watched Kramer's gaze flick to the envelope again. He wanted it. That told me something. Open it, Kramer said. No, Wolfe said. Why not? Because, Wolfe said evenly, you would misinterpret it, Kramer snorted. That's rich. I am wealthy, Wolfe said. Richness is irrelevant. Kramer turned to me. Goodwin, you going to let him play games? I don't let him do anything, I said. I just survive it. Kramer glared, then sighed. Fine. But this isn't over. It never is, Wolfe said pleasantly. When they left, the room felt quieter. Too quiet. The envelope was delivered to Hale, I said, then disappeared. Now it's back. Why? To close a loop, Wolfe said, or to suggest one has been closed. I frowned. You think someone wants Hale to relax? Yes. And if he does? Then he will err, Wolfe said. The phone rang again. Hale this time. His voice sounded steadier, which worried me. It's over, Hale said. The envelope came back. I assume you sent it. No, Wolfe said. Oh, Hale said. Then, that's good, isn't it? No, Wolfe said. There was a pause. I don't understand. You are being reassured, Wolfe said. That is dangerous. Hale laughed nervously. You're overthinking this. Wolfe's eyes hardened. That is not possible. After Hale hung up, I leaned back in my chair. You're letting him think the blackmail's done. Yes? Why? Because the person who orchestrated this cannot tolerate loose ends, Wolfe said. They will act to secure the illusion. And when they do, I said, we watch. Precisely. That evening, I took the envelope downstairs and examined it again. The wax smelled faintly different, resin mixed with something sharper. Not Hale's office, not Kroll's either. I reported that to Wolfe. Good, he said. The seal was remade elsewhere. Which means the person who opened it has a workspace, I said. Tools, time. Yes, Wolfe said, and patience. The phone rang a final time, late. A clerk at the medical examiner's office, routine update, nothing conclusive, no surprise there. But as I hung up, something clicked. Wolfe, I said slowly. Kroll's secretary, Marianne Lutz. She told me the envelope was on his desk when she left, but the courier delivered it earlier. That means she saw it after it was opened, Wolfe said, and didn't react. No, Wolfe said. She accepted it. I looked at the envelope on the desk, perfect and wrong. Someone's been controlling the flow, I said. Who sees what? When? Yes, Wolfe said, and they are growing bold. Outside, the city hummed, indifferent. Inside, the envelope sat between us like a promise. It had moved without being seen, and whoever moved it was getting closer. The second death arrived quietly, which was rude of it. By then, I'd learned to expect drama from this case, threatening letters, vanishing envelopes, people sweating in expensive chairs. But when trouble finally knocked again, it did so with the politeness of a clerk delivering bad news on carbon paper. The call came just after dinner. Goodwin, said Sergeant Purley, sounding tired. You might want to hear this before it gets noisy. I'm listening, I said. Samuel Boyd, he said, your courier, found at the bottom of a subway stairwell. I straightened. Dead? Very. Looks like a fall. Slipped, maybe. Maybe, I said. Anyone else buy that? Not yet, Purley said, but it'll sell. I hung up and went upstairs. Wolfe was at his desk, reading, as if the world had agreed to behave itself. Boyd is dead, I said. Wolfe did not look up. I'm unsurprised. That makes one of us. Describe, Wolfe said. Subway stairs, fall. No witnesses worth trusting. Accident, Wolfe said flatly. Convenient. Exactly, I said. Second death tied to the same chain. Different method, same timing pattern. Wolfe closed his book. Tell me. I did. Boyd had delivered the envelope. He had been told to expect a follow-up call. He hadn't received one. Now he was dead. No obvious signs of struggle, no note, no envelope this time. They'll call it coincidence, I said. Guy in a hurry, wet stairs. Yes, Wolfe said. They will be incorrect. Then what is it? I asked. Wolfe leaned back, his eyes thoughtful. Completion. Completion of what? A design, Wolfe said. The courier was a loose end. Then why kill him now? I asked. He'd already talked to me. Indeed, Wolfe said, which means the design was altered. I frowned. Someone adjusted the plan. Yes, Wolfe said, and in doing so, revealed something important. I waited. The killer is reactive, Wolfe said. Not impulsive, reactive. They did not anticipate your involvement. That narrows it, I said. Anyone else want to narrow it further? Patience, Wolfe said. We now know something else. What? The deaths are not the objective, Wolfe said. They are consequences. I rubbed my forehead. You said that before. Yes, Wolfe said. Now it is proven. I spent the next morning retracing Boyd's steps, the diner, the street corner where he'd met the woman in the dark coat, the subway entrance, everything ordinary. Too ordinary. A transit worker remembered Boyd slipping. Another remembered him standing still, like he was waiting for someone. No one remembered a face. They never do. Back at the brownstone, I laid it out. 2 deaths, I said. Different people, different methods, same result. Silence. Exactly, Wolfe said. No confrontation, no struggle, no witness. Someone who doesn't like mess, I said. Someone who prefers systems, Wolfe corrected. I leaned forward. Wolfe, this person hasn't killed anyone directly. They set pressure points and let gravity do the rest. Yes. That takes nerve, I said. And confidence. And distance, Wolfe added. I thought of Marianne Lutz, precise, calm, present when the envelope was first seen, present again when it returned, at least indirectly. And someone who knows routines, I said. Office schedules, delivery times. Yes, Wolfe said. And human behavior. The phone rang. Hale again. This is getting out of hand, Hale said. 2 men dead, I'm finished. No, Wolfe said. You are useful. That's comforting, Hale snapped. You are alive, Wolfe said. That is intentional. Hale went quiet. You think someone's protecting me? No, Wolfe said. You're being preserved. For what? For later, Wolfe said. After Hale hung up, I let out a breath. He's a pawn. Yes, Wolfe said, and the board is nearly set. What about the secretary? I asked. Lutz, she's calm, too calm. Wolfe nodded. She is efficient. That's not illegal. No, Wolfe said, but it is informative. I sat back. You're telling me the killer never wanted a body? Yes, Wolfe said. They wanted motion, fear-driven decisions. Kroll panicked, I said. Boyd hesitated. And both acted alone, Wolfe said, which is the point. I looked at the city through the window. So what's next? Wolfe's mouth curved slightly. The killer will believe the matter resolved. 2 deaths, no exposure, no envelope opened publicly. And that's when they relax, I said. Yes, Wolfe said, and relaxation breeds error. I nodded slowly. You're going to call them all in. Soon, Wolfe said, but not yet. Why wait? Because, Wolfe said, I wish to observe one more reaction. That night, I lay awake thinking about stairs and seals and silence. 2 men were dead, and neither death had changed the direction of the case. That was the most disturbing part. Because when murder changes nothing, it means the real move hasn't been made yet. If there's one thing that keeps a man honest, it's exhaustion. After a while, even the best liars start reusing their lines the way tired actors repeat cues. Wolfe knows this. He counts on it, which is why he sent me back to Victor Hale. Hale's apartment overlooked the river and tried very hard to look innocent. Lots of glass, pale furniture, the kind of place where guilt echoes if you let it. Hale himself looked like he'd aged a decade since our last visit. His suit was wrinkled, his tie abandoned, his confidence hanging by a thread. You said it was over, he snapped as soon as I sat down. I said you thought it was over, I corrected. That's different. He ran a hand through his hair. 2 men are dead, Goodwin. This thing has to end somewhere. Oh, it will, I said. I'm just checking where you were standing when it passed you. He frowned. What does that mean? Talk, I said, from the beginning. He did, carefully, too carefully. He repeated his story, the old investment group, the buried fraud, the first letter, the envelope, the fear. I let him go on, nodding in the right places, letting him feel heard. Then right on schedule, he said it. I never thought it would come to this, Hale said quietly. I just wanted to prevent consequences. I froze inwardly. Outwardly, I stayed polite. He had said the exact same sentence, word for word, 3 days earlier. Same pause, same emphasis, same phrasing. People don't remember trauma that cleanly. They rehearse it. I let him finish, thanked him, and left without pressing. Pressing too soon spoils the effect. Back at the brownstone, Wolfe was waiting. He always is. He repeated it, I said. Yes, Wolfe said. You already knew? I suspected, Wolfe said. Now I'm certain. That phrase, prevent consequences, that's not spontaneous, I said. It's a line. Indeed, Wolfe said. Mr. Hale has been coached. By whom? By someone who wished him to appear sincere, Wolfe said, and harmless. I paced. Then Hale didn't originate the blackmail story. No, Wolfe said. He adopted it. Which makes him an accessory, I said. Or a shield, Wolfe said. The phone rang. Marianne Lutz this time. Her voice was steady, professional, concerned in exactly the right proportions. I heard about Mr. Boyd, she said. It's dreadful. Yes, I said, it is. I wanted to make sure I'd done everything I could, she said, for the investigation. I glanced at Wolfe. He raised an eyebrow. That's thoughtful, I said. What did you have in mind? I remembered something, she said, about the envelope. Of course she did. She came over that afternoon. Same posture, same precise movements, same calm eyes. I didn't mention this before, she said, because I didn't think it mattered. Wolfe's lips twitched. A common error. She ignored him. The envelope on Mr. Kroll's desk, it wasn't addressed. That is not unusual, I said. No, she said. But the wax seal, it bore a symbol. Wolfe leaned forward a fraction. Describe it. A small imprint, she said, like a flower. Wolfe smiled thinly. How charming. She flushed slightly. I assumed it was decorative. And now? Wolfe asked. Now I wonder, she said, if it was meant to be recognized. By whom? I asked. She hesitated. By Mr. Hale. Wolfe's eyes sharpened. You're certain of this? Yes. And yet, Wolfe said gently, you did not mention it earlier. I was frightened, she said. People were dying. Yes, Wolfe said, and you remained alive. That landed. She stiffened just slightly. After she left, I leaned against the desk. She's good. Yes, Wolfe said. She is excellent. That symbol, I said. A flower. Orchids? No, Wolfe said. An imitation. I frowned. Meaning? Meaning the person who used it wished to evoke refinement, Wolfe said. Authority, intelligence. Your kind of thing, I said. Wolfe snorted. A vulgar approximation? I thought it through. She sees the envelope. She doesn't react. She knows about the seal. She volunteers information when it suits her. Yes, Wolfe said. And Hale repeats lines he didn't write, I said, which means someone fed them to him. Yes? And Boyd was killed because he knew he'd delivered something, I said. Not what it was, but that it mattered. Yes, I stopped pacing. Wolfe, she didn't push anyone. She didn't poison anyone. She didn't even threaten anyone. No, Wolfe said. She merely arranged certainty. That's enough? It often is, Wolfe said. I exhaled. So what now? Wolfe folded his hands. Now we wait for the final confirmation. Which is? The killer believes themselves safe, Wolfe said. They will seek closure. Meaning? They will attempt to retrieve the envelope, Wolfe said, or destroy it. And that's when you move, I said. Yes, Wolfe said. I will invite everyone. I grinned despite myself. The famous gathering. Indeed, Wolfe said. I have not yet missed lunch for this case. That is restraint. I looked at the envelope on the desk, still sealed, still silent. Funny thing, I said. All this death, and you still haven't seen a body. Wolfe met my eyes. Nor will I need to. Outside, the city kept breathing. Somewhere in it, a careful woman believed she had engineered the perfect distance. What she hadn't accounted for was repetition. And Nero Wolfe never misses it when a lie sounds the same twice. Wolfe sent the invitations the way a judge issues subpoenas, politely, precisely, and with the unspoken promise that refusal would be regretted. By 6 o'clock that evening, the brownstone's office had filled with the sort of air you could slice and serve with garnish. Everyone was present. Victor Hale, pale and brittle, Marianne Lutz, immaculate and composed, Martin Dorsey, smiling too often, Inspector Kramer, scowling as if he'd paid for the room, and Sergeant Purley, watching quietly from the corner. Fritz had retreated with dignity. I took my usual chair, notebook open, grin ready. Wolfe remained seated behind his desk, enormous and immovable, like a statue of limitation with eyes. Thank you for coming, Wolfe said. You will listen. You may speak later. Kramer bristled. You can't. I can, Wolfe said. You're here. That settled it. Wolfe began, as he always does, with the least dramatic thing in the room. Mr. Hale, he said, you were blackmailed. Hale nodded quickly. Yes. You believed the threat genuine, Wolfe continued, because the blackmailer possessed information you believed only 3 men knew. Yes. One of whom, Wolfe said, is dead. Hale swallowed. Mr. Kroll's death was not murder in the conventional sense, Wolfe said. No weapon, no confrontation, only pressure. Kramer snorted. Pressure doesn't kill people. On the contrary, Wolfe said, it kills them regularly. Gravity assists. I watched Marianne Lutz. She sat straight, hands folded, eyes attentive. No fear. Not yet. Mr. Kroll received an envelope, Wolfe continued. It was delivered, opened, resealed, and left to be found. He panicked. He acted alone. He died. Dorsey cleared his throat. You're speculating. No, Wolfe said. I'm sequencing. He turned slightly. Mr. Boyd, the courier, delivered the envelope. He was told to expect further contact. When he did not receive it, he hesitated. He lingered. He became uncertain. Still not murder, Kramer said. Indeed, Wolfe said, which is why it worked twice. The room shifted. Hale looked from face to face, lost. 2 deaths, Wolfe said, each facilitated by the victim's own expectations. No physical violence required. Kramer folded his arms. You still haven't named a killer. Patience, Wolfe said. He turned to Dorsey. Mr. Dorsey, you advised Mr. Kroll. You knew of the documents. You knew of the fraud. Dorsey smiled tightly. That's attorney-client. Silence, Wolfe said. Dorsey shut up. Wolfe's gaze moved to Marianne Lutz. Miss Lutz, he said gently, you were Mr. Kroll's secretary. You controlled his schedule, his correspondence, his access. Yes, she said calmly. You saw the envelope on his desk, Wolfe said. After it had been opened. She nodded. I told Mr. Goodwin that. You noted the seal, Wolfe said. You recognized its significance. I mentioned a symbol, she said, nothing more. Indeed, Wolfe said. You mentioned it when it was safe. She stiffened slightly. Miss Lutz, Wolfe said, you are a woman of precision. You value order. You value control. You dislike unpredictability. That's flattering, she said. It is diagnostic, Wolfe replied. Hale shifted in his chair. What does this have to do with me? Everything, Wolfe said. You were selected because you are predictable. Hale stared. Selected? Yes, Wolfe said. You were coached. The phrase, prevent consequences, you repeated it precisely. That is not memory. That is instruction. Hale's mouth opened, then closed. He turned slowly toward Marianne. She met his gaze without flinching. Wolfe continued. You were never the target. You were the instrument. Your fear ensured movement. Your compliance ensured silence. Kramer leaned forward. You're accusing her of murder. No, Wolfe said. I'm accusing her of design. Marianne Lutz smiled then, small and polite. This is all very clever, she said, but you still haven't proven anything. No, Wolfe said. I have not yet concluded. He gestured to the envelope on his desk. This object, Wolfe said, has driven all actions in this case, yet its contents remain irrelevant. Kramer scoffed. Open it. No, Wolfe said. Marianne's eyes flicked to it, just once. I saw it. Wolfe saw it. That glance, Wolfe said softly, was impatience. She exhaled. You're guessing. No, Wolfe said. I'm observing. He leaned forward now, filling the room. You opened the envelope, Wolfe said. You resealed it. You ensured it was seen. You knew Mr. Kroll would panic. You knew the courier would linger. You knew Mr. Hale would repeat what you told him to repeat. Silence, thick as wool. You never intended to kill, Wolfe said. You intended to conclude a matter cleanly. Death was an acceptable byproduct. Marianne's smile faded. You can't prove that. Wolfe's voice hardened. You returned the envelope. Her eyes widened, just a fraction. You could not tolerate an unresolved variable, Wolfe said, so you placed it here believing it would end the cycle. Kramer stood. That's enough. Sit down, Wolfe snapped. Kramer sat. Marianne straightened. Suppose I did all that, she said quietly. What law have I broken? Wolfe looked at her for a long moment. None, he said. The room exhaled. Until, Wolfe added, you attempt to remove evidence from my office. She moved. Fast, too fast. Her hand darted toward the envelope. Pearlie was quicker. The room erupted, chairs scraping, voices shouting. Marianne froze, hand inches from the blotter, caught between intention and consequence. Wolfe closed his eyes briefly. That, he said, will suffice. As Pearlie cuffed her, Marianne's composure finally cracked. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She looked at Wolfe. You never even saw the body, she said. No, Wolfe said. I saw the mind. As they took her away, I sat back and grinned. The trap had closed, and Wolfe hadn't moved an inch. After the noise died down, and Marianne Lutz was escorted out of the brownstone with a pair of bracelets she hadn't planned on wearing, the room felt oddly empty. People had been removed, chairs sat askew, and the air carried that faint, stale smell of truth just uncovered. Inspector Kramer lingered, arms crossed, chewing on dissatisfaction. That won't stick, he said finally. No weapon, no direct action. You're asking a jury to believe she thought 2 men into dying. Wolfe looked at him as one might look at a stubborn stain. I'm asking a jury to believe she understood human behavior. That's philosophy, Kramer snapped. No, Wolfe said. It is logistics. Kramer left shortly after, muttering about paperwork and headaches. Hale followed, pale and shaken, offering gratitude he didn't fully understand. Dorsey vanished without a word, which told me more than anything he could have said. When the door finally closed, it was just Wolfe and me again, back where everything starts and ends. I poured myself a drink. Wolfe declined, which meant he was still thinking. You going to open it now? I asked, nodding toward the envelope. No, Wolfe said. You don't want to know what's inside? I already do, Wolfe said, approximately. That's not an answer. It is sufficient, Wolfe replied. I leaned back. Walk me through it, not the ending. We've got that. The why. Wolfe folded his hands, pleased despite himself. Marianne Lutz, he began, was an intelligent woman trapped in a narrow position. She witnessed financial corruption without the power to stop it or profit from it. That breeds resentment. She didn't take the money, I said. No, Wolfe said. She took control. He continued calmly. She discovered the documents years ago, not their full content, merely their existence. She waited. When the opportunity arose, she constructed a scenario. Blackmail without a blackmailer, I said. Precisely, Wolfe said. She never demanded money. She demanded reactions. I nodded. Kroll panicked. Hale complied. Boyd hesitated. And each acted alone, Wolfe said. No witnesses, no confrontation. Which kept her clean, I said. Nearly, Wolfe corrected. I frowned. What gave her away? Impatience, Wolfe said, and symmetry. Meaning? She orchestrated events so precisely that when one element remained unresolved, the envelope, she intervened personally, Wolfe said. Returning it here was unnecessary. Therefore, it was emotional. Control slipping, I said. Yes. I took a sip. Still bothers me. You never saw Kroll's body. Wolfe shrugged. It was unnecessary. That's the title, I said. That's the point. Wolfe allowed himself a thin smile. Indeed. I glanced at the envelope again. You sure you don't want to open it, for curiosity's sake? No, Wolfe said. Curiosity is rarely productive. Then what do we do with it? Wolfe stood, a rare concession to gravity, and carried the envelope to the fireplace. Without ceremony, he dropped it into the flames. I sat up. That was evidence. No, Wolfe said, watching it burn. It was bait. The wax melted first, hissing faintly, then the paper curled, blackened, vanished. What if you were wrong? I asked. I was not, Wolfe said. We watched until nothing remained but ash. Later, after Fritz brought coffee and Wolfe returned to his chair, I made notes. Habit. Closure. You know, I said, most detectives need a body, autopsy, scene photos, bloodstains. Most detectives, Wolfe said, are unimaginative or careful. Carefulness, Wolfe said, is not synonymous with intelligence. I grinned. Still, you solved a murder without seeing the corpse. Wolfe looked at me. I solved a design. Death was merely its shadow. I closed my notebook. Outside, the city carried on. Sirens, traffic, lives intersecting without concern for logic or consequence. You think she regrets it? I asked. No, Wolfe said. She regrets failure. That fit. As I headed for the stairs, Wolfe spoke again. Archie. Yes? You will title your account of this case, I smiled. Already have. Wolfe raised an eyebrow. The body Wolfe never saw. He considered it, then nodded once. That, he said, will do. And for once I agreed.